Hello guys, it is March 10th and we have a 6-game NBA slate. Starting off at point guard, we have a lot of high-priced options here with Harden and Westbrook. I don't think this is a slate that you necessarily need them. Harden is on a back-to-back, same thing with like Chris Paul, and he's all it's not like closer to the 11s or even in the high 10s. So this isn't the best price that we're getting out of Harden in a back-to-back too. Not somebody that I'm gonna really be prioritizing. Sure, he has a ceiling, we all know what it is, but not a core play for me. Westbrook's in a tough matchup, 10-8. He's Russell Westbrook, and he can get a triple-double any night against any opponent, but 10-8 in a tougher matchup, getting paced down away. I don't really want to play Westbrook here. Kyrie's interesting. Tatum is questionable, so if Tatum is out, that also opens up some more usage for Kyrie. Pat Bev probably is going to be guarding Kyrie, but not something that I'm going to be too concerned about. But really, who I'm really liking is Donovan Mitchell. 8.4K here against OKC. So in matchups like this we've seen before, when they needed to play against like tougher opponents in these spotlights, OKC at Utah, this game just sets up for Mitchell because we've seen Mitchell just chuck up shots like 30 plus a game, and this is a significantly paced up spot for Utah. And we're getting Utah without Ricky Rubio, without Raul Neto, so Mitchell's gonna have to do a whole lot of the ball handling here. And Dante Exum is expected to return, but he's missed over 2 months, so we can't really expect him to play too many minutes. And I'd also would expect him to come off the bench, so that's actually more of like a hit down to like Joe Ingles, who probably ball handles when Mitchell's out. But Exum really, he shouldn't see like over 20 minutes probably, but definitely wait on that as we get closer to the tip off. But Mitchell's 8.4K here. Maybe we'll see some Paul George defense, but definitely Ferguson's probably going to start off guarding him. And 8.4 is not an overprice at all. Like we've seen what he can do against OKC, like in the playoffs last year. He's going to take a whole lot of shots. He's going to have insane usage. He gets rebounds and assists are going to be up because there's no Rubio and Neto. So he's going to be ball handling and he's going to be taking 20 plus shots, probably closer to 30, possibly even more because of just the type of game that this is. Next, De'Aaron Fox, 7.3K at Washington. Significantly paced up spot or not really paced up, but just a fast-paced game for both of these teams. Sacramento plays at one of the fastest paces in the league. Washington plays a lot better at home. And Washington doesn't play any defense, though, just offensively. Both of these teams are in great spots. Fox, 7.3K. You get the starting point guard for this game. And he's been seeing 30 plus minutes, and he got 37 even last game, and we know he has a lot of upside. He can do everything on the court. Washington gives up a lot to guards, gives up a lot to like every position. So certainly seeing a double-double is not out of the extreme, maybe even a triple-double if we get a stealing game out of Fox here. 7.3K is not something that's like really eye-popping, but here it's just an excellent spot, excellent matchup for everyone on both teams. So I really like that. And same thing can be said about Thomas Satoransky, 5.8K starting point guard for the other team. He plays a lot better at home, and he's actually been playing a lot of minutes recently. Obviously, that was an OT game, but here we have 5.8K Satoransky, who has triple-double upside. Without John Wall, he's been getting 30 plus minutes and fantasy points, and at home he plays significantly better. So I really like Satoransky here. And then if you're really looking for value, Dante Exum, depending on his minutes limit. Shooting guard Bradley Beal, 9.7K here. So in this game environment, again, just so fast-paced. Bradley Beal's the main guy for the Wizards now, and he's not going to be really high owned. I think Mitchell could definitely get a lot of ownership here. I don't think it's going to be like too chalky, but it is a 6-game slate. But Bradley Beal, just 9.7K, it's just seems a little bit much, and I think that's what's going to take people off of him. But really, if you look at what he's been doing recently, last game was an OT game, but he just has, he just can produce in so many different ways, and he's the main guy. He's going to take close to 20 shots, and a lot of times over that. And if he gets you 50, that's over 5x already. So I really like Bradley Beal. And then going down, I would talk about Jaylen Brown. 4.5K here against the Clippers. So If Tatum is out, definitely have some interest there. Not going to be a core play even if Tatum is out, but he's just pretty cheap, and this is a nice spot here for Boston Clippers. Play pretty fast, and Brown's minutes should be towards the upper 20s, even creeping into the 30s if he's playing well, if Tatum is in fact out. And then small forward, I really like Paul George here, 9.5K. He's been in a shooting slump recently, but this is Paul George. He knows, just all these guys in this game, they've played a tough 7-game series last year in the playoffs. Paul George, he did not really show up in those playoffs last game, and he's been hearing it, all season long. And this guy is 9.5K, price is down because he fouled out last game. He's been shooting a little poorly. That could be due to his shoulder injury, but we don't really know. But just if he's healthy, and you don't really know if he is, but he's going to be playing 30 plus minutes, close to 40 even, and he's 9.5K. He has all the upside in the world here. He can just absolutely smash his price tag, and even though it is a tough matchup, he's been able to do it in the past games against Utah this season. So Paul George is not really concerning to me. Probably not going to be a lock. If he was totally healthy and he was shooting really well, probably I'd lock him, but here there is a little bit of concern. So still, though, I have a ton of interest in Paul George here. And then Bogdanovich, 5.5K against Washington. Again, just a pace-up spot. He probably is going to see 30 plus minutes again with Marvin Bagley probably going to be out again. And he has a floor of 20. This is a game where it's just going to be so fast-paced. I definitely can see him getting 30 plus. And if we're getting 30 plus, everything else on top of that is just, really extra. And it's going to be really a great play here, great matchup and everything. Honestly, I think he can get you 30 plus and probably closer to 40 even. This is just a phenomenal spot. Keep on mentioning that, but it truly is. Just both teams don't play any defense, and both teams are just playing at such a fast pace. And Harrison Barnes, 5.2K. He's been he's been playing power forward, but Nemanja Bjelica has been back in the rotation the last 3 games, so depending on how they roll with that, Barnes could play more of the 3, so it does lower a little bit of his rebounding upside, but he has still been rebounding pretty well for his last 3 games. But really, he just plays heavy minutes for this Kings team, and really it's him and Fox and Buddy Hield that are more solidified in their minutes. And then the rest of the guys like Bogdan, Willie Cauley-Stein, they kind of just play more minutes when they're really doing well. So Barnes here, 5.2K. It's probably like a cash play here. I don't think it's going to be that popular. We'll have to wait and see how the slate breaks out. But again, phenomenal spot. And Gordon Hayward, 4.6K if Tatum is out. He's been showing some nice upside. He's been playing a little bit better, or a lot better actually. Recently, he's been playing more minutes too. So again, against the Clippers in a nice spot here. If Tatum is out, definitely a nice play we can look to. More of a value play here with a lot of upside. And then Royce O'Neal, if you really need a save, but definitely not the best play here, just because when he hits value, he needs to be hitting his 3-ball and getting a lot of rebounds. Like you look at how he's been hitting like 20 plus in his last game logs. He's shooting 4 or 9, 5 or 6, 6 or 7, 5 or 6. He needs to be hot when he's shooting, and if he's not, he better be getting a lot of rebounds, because he's not a guy that's going to be producing a whole lot. And it is a nice matchup because there's a pace-up spot, some more opportunities for these peripherals, because he is a good defender. Does he get some steals and blocks? But yeah, he's just not that much of a usage guy. So you're really hoping for a crazy ceiling amount of O'Neal. Power forward, I like Blake Griffin here for 8.3K. He's been struggling, but this spot again, just at Brooklyn, his price is even more down, 8.3K. We know the upside that he has. He can get a triple-double. And he's the power forward against Brooklyn here, who are starting Rudy and Koruks, and DeMar Carroll's their backup. And these two guys are 6'9" and 6'8", and they're around 210. So Blake Griffin just has a significant height and weight strength advantage against these guys. He's only 8.3K. He's been playing bad, but this matchup, in which should be a pretty nice game environment just because of the matchup for these two Twin Towers on the Pistons. And this is a back-to-back. I gotta note that, but they blew the Bulls out this game or the previous game, so the Stars got some rest. He only played 27, and if we look at just his game log for these Pistons, like for Blake Griffin, we see on back-to-backs if he plays a little bit less, he actually is able to, play more his usual minutes and be able to be really productive out there. So I really like Blake Griffin, 8.3K here, even though he's been burning me a lot in the past. But the matchup's just too good for him. And then next, Jabari Parker, 5.4K. Again, just another Washington guy. You can definitely game stack this. And then Jeff Green, another guy, really cheap here, 4.4K. It seems to me that he's been getting the minutes a lot over Jabari. Even though he didn't play that well last game, he still closed ahead of Jabari. But Jabari, he leads this second unit, so he's going to get a lot of usage, and he still plays some pretty solid minutes. So Jabari's not a bad option at 5.4K. And in case something happens, or if Wizards finally give Jabari some more run to close, definitely Jabari's going to smash. And then Nemanja Bjelica, 4.2K. He's been back in the rotation recently, and he's been playing close to 30 minutes. So in a nice matchup, just going to be a track meet here. If he gets up his shots, which he does, gets you some nice defensive stats. Pretty solid rebounder, so 4.2K with some solid upside, definitely like that. And then DeMar Carroll, 3.8K. Not the best matchup, but he probably sees, over 24 minutes probably. And even though he doesn't start, usually Carroll's going to play a little bit more than Kurucs. So Carroll, 3.8K at home. He has some upside here because he is so cheap. So definitely, if you're really looking for something down here, Carroll makes for an option. And then center, Andre Drummond, probably going to be chalk, but 9.1K and possibly the best matchup for centers. Just at Brooklyn, where they're not a good rebounding team at all. Jared Allen and Davis, they're just not going to be able to slow down Drummond here. And this guy has just been on a tear recently, and he's played some pretty heavy minutes. Only 30 minutes today, so back-to-back not a concern for me. It's just a phenomenal spot for Drummond. Don't really need to say much more than that. Just kind of like a lock. Definitely have some Blake exposure too, but I think you can definitely pair both of these guys together even because Brooklyn just struggles so much inside, and Detroit, that's their main strength. They go inside and they can definitely muscle you out, rebound you, and just dominate the paint. Next, Rudy Gobert, 7.8K. Not going to be a popular pick, but I think he deserves a look because OKC, Steven Adams has been struggling against Rudy Gobert in their past matchups, and without Ricky Rubio, Gobert's actually having some nice usage and having some nice fantasy games without Rubio. It's kind of odd because Gobert's not that offensive threat that we expect out of a center that gets a usage bump, but at 7.8K, in a massive pace-up spot, so more rebounding, shot blocking opportunities, Gobert definitely has some solid upside, like 50-plus upside here. At home too, Steven Adams, definitely not a guy I want to pick on, but just Gobert, it's a nice spot because of the pace and just because of Ricky Rubio being out. And he's going to be low owned, so you add that on top of that, I just really like it. Definitely a nice pivot from Drummond, or you can even just play them both if you're not going to Mitchell or something. But again, I like this game. Definitely going to be more of the high-scoring games for the Jazz, so definitely really like it. Bobby Portis, 5.9K. Again, another Wizards guy against the Kings, who, again, they're one of the teams that struggles against centers a lot, just like the Nets. So I really like the idea of playing Portis and Drummond together, especially since Portis is power forward eligible. And then Jared Allen, 4.8K. He's cheap, tough matchup against Drummond. Rebounds are a concern. Foul trouble is a concern, especially against Drummond and Blake Griffin when he's driving down the lane. But his minutes should be pretty nice here if he can stay out of foul trouble, because they're going to need him to go against these Twin Towers. So Jared Allen as a more of a GPP play because he is still so cheap. And then Ante Zizic, 3.9K, tough matchup against Toronto, but Larry Nance is going to be out, Tristan Thompson's out, so I would expect Zizic to probably see 20 plus minutes here, and even in blowouts, Zizic still gets his minutes, so I think he could definitely be a value play, but again, he's a center, so when you have a lot of these top center options you want to play, like Drummond, it's going to be kind of tough to fit in Zizic if you want to play him as your value play. So my favorite play on this slate is Donovan Mitchell, and then Andre Drummond, just a phenomenal spot. Really like Bobby Portis, and then Paul George. But if you're taking these guys, then you're really cutting it thin with your salary. So if you want to go more of a balanced approach, I think Mitchell and Drummond are more of my priorities. Like I prioritize those two guys ahead of Paul George. And then try to get that Sacramento Washington exposure. Like I think stacking that's definitely fine. Like I stacked this game with 6 players. The last time Washington was playing against the Timberwolves, and it worked out really nicely. So Portis and then Satoransky maybe, or Jeff Green. Definitely want some Sacramento exposure. So maybe I can go get it with De'Aaron Fox, save that 2,200 from Paul George. Or if you want to save it even more, you can go down to Bogdanovich, 5.5K. Or for a value play, you can go with Bielitsa. So something like just putting in Drummond because he's in a phenomenal spot, and then getting a lot of exposure to the Sacramento Wizards game definitely makes a whole lot of sense. I think that's the ideal way to go for this slate. So yeah, definitely check back on Twitter, for any of these late breaking news, how these injuries are going to change the slate. So definitely be on the lookout for that. I'll definitely update my plays too as the day goes on. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, please subscribe to the channel, and good luck on this slate. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.